Denzel Boston, the Washington wide receiver. Um, he is built like a true X. He's at 6'4" with really long arms, and he really knows how to use that frame well. And he walls off corners and he plucks the ball away out from beside his body. Um, he gets up to speed quite quickly, although he's not got the true burner speed. He's more than adequate in that department. Um, I really like him on a deep ball. He turns ahead quickly and he tracks it really well. And he adjusts really well to those back shoulder catches. Uh, Red zone threat. He knows how to use those fades and boxes out on slants, in the red zone. Really strong grip, even when the defensive backs are trying to get hold of it there, he can still come down with that ball really well. Um, he puts his body between the defender and where he wants to go really well, protecting that space. Um, for a guy who's tall and lanky, he's quite after the catch. He runs quite angrily. He's got a bit of power there, and he breaks tackles and he'll fight for every yard. Um, and he's a good blocker. He does a lot of dirty work on the outside that maybe doesn't go unnoticed. It's not the most spectacular thing, but for teams they will really love that. He is sometimes just a bit too straight line, and press corners will work against that. He's not a burner, and at the kind of break point, the separation can close on him a little bit. He doesn't get the elite separation. Um, he struggled a bit more against the better corner, when he's playing the bigger college programs, and that's maybe just the team was struggling as a whole, but something I noticed. And he gets through his yards more through contact rather than making people miss. But a legit threat, red zone weapon, someone who you can throw the ball up to, and he will play quite happily on the outside.
Yeah, 2 for 2 so far. I also have Denzel Boston at number 4. 6'4", £210. I came away really, really impressed with Denzel Boston. Even though I have him at 4, I'm almost inclined to say I was maybe the most impressed with him out of any of the running backs that I watched. That I think he is almost closer
He's a
to
wide receiver,
3
not a
than
running
he.
back.
Yeah, sorry, because we're recording on the same night. I
I'll let you off.
certainly wouldn't be using him as a running back, though he is versatile. That yeah, he's closer to 3 than he is to 5 here. In terms of you've got the big 3, people know who they are, but I'm certainly considering putting Denzel Boston on the outside, looking in on that group, because I did come away really impressed because he's a smooth timing driven receiver who's got really advanced route nuance, corrective anticipation. His ability to adjust to the ball when there were so many throws that were like 5 or 6 yards short of where his break was, and he still managed to make a play on the ball because of that anticipation and the awareness that he had in his routes to know. And his speed is fluid, consistent, reliable, creates space because of the nuance in his route running, and I'd say adjusts to imperfect throws is how I framed it. You could say bad throws, but we'll call them imperfect. Separates with tempo, and he's just a salesman in his routes that he can fake defenders out. He's not one of those. He's not a burner. He doesn't have sudden explosiveness, but he'll sell you a trip. And if you're a corner, you're going on it while he breaks into his route. High level body control as well at 6'4", that he can high point the football, and his anticipation at the catch point to anticipate over his shoulder was exceptional. I think he has functional ability after the catch, and just enough twitch, not loads, but just enough shows up in his transitions to be a creative enough. What else can I say? Comfort contorting his body despite his lanky build, awareness for spacing, his IQ, and his ability to anticipate zone and find those soft spaces. And I think his change of direction was more than good enough. Yeah, the weaknesses you were spot on in terms of what I've got here: lack of sudden explosiveness, a limited creativity after catch. He's kind of got a ceiling in terms of what he can do after the catch. Although I like it, and it is enough for that type of receiver that you're getting. His play strength isn't necessarily dominant at the catch point, but it doesn't need to be because of his catch radius at that size, and yet he can be disrupted by press coverage at times, especially when aligned out wide, because he does take quite a few snaps from the slot, so you can move him about, and his production is extremely efficient. You took what he did over the last 2 years. In 2024, 834 yards from 63 receptions. In 2025, 881 yards from 62 receptions. So, fairly identical in terms of what he can do. He's just fairly consistent. You know what you're going to get from him. And yeah, I'm more than happy. I think with a lot of these guys, you want to pair them with someone else, and
Hmm.
I think I'm fairly confident in saying I think about that with all the guys, the wide receiver in this class. There's a load of wide receiver twos. So yeah, I'm confident of what you can get from Denzel Boston. I'm more than happy to use a top 20 pick on him. I was really impressed.